Hi, this is Danny Hicks live from the California State Home for the Bewildered, and you had better be listening to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tim O and Harley Show. I am Tim O. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, hop along, Harley.
Hopping along all the way. It's almost Easter, right?
That's true.
So
That's
close.
absolutely true.
Yeah.
In the space-time continuum, as we say, we do record this about a week or two before you hear it. Actually, when you hear this, I guess this is technically our Easter show.
It could be, right?
I am so terrible at marking when we have a show that comes out like on the week of a holiday of any sort, because we do the show a week before. And to be quite frank with you, I don't really think a lot about the stuff. Ben Harley, I sit in my front yard waving a cane around.
Oh, even at nothing, just practicing, right?
Exactly. Was that a breeze coming through my property? What?
Yeah.
I pay my taxes. So holidays kind of come and go. I'm at that point where I'm waving my cane so much. Unfortunately, Ben Harley, I'm so cranky that sometimes holidays come and they go. And I don't even hardly notice them anymore.
Right.
Christmas and Halloween are still a strong contender in my world.
Yes.
Definitely are. The rest of them, though, like Harley, I don't even celebrate Arbor Day anymore.
No?
No.
Tim. What about Columbus Day?
No, I don't.
No. Yeah.
But it is. I guess, Easter, if you listen to this on the Sunday that we release this. So if you are a person who celebrates Easter, happy Easter. And I do believe it was also Passover. I did see a couple of our friends post something like that. So happy Easter, Passover, all the good holidays around this time of year. Hope you're doing well. Really, there's spring holidays. They are markers, Mr. Ben Harley, saying that spring is coming. Let me tell you something. You know what? Do you know what I did on, this previous Saturday? I cut my grass for the first time this year.
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, we talked about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For the first time, how's it coming up? Pretty good? Or?
It is coming up pretty good, but that just means that the trees are starting to bud a little bit. That means my woods is coming to life, Mr. Ben Harley. It's coming to life, and which is very good. And also, I have also noticed that the bush honeysuckle has also come to life. It's time for me to muscle up.
Yeah. Yep. I was going to say, that's the bane of your existence, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's become that, So actually what I usually do is Chance will be in the car and we'll see it. I say, hey, Chance, you see all that work ahead of us?
Yeah.
So that always excites a 14-year-old, He's like,
oh, yeah.
So, let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley. A couple other things. Oh, real quick here. Tomorrow, I thought you might like to hear this. Tomorrow, also in the Space-Time Continuum, we do record this on Tuesday morning. So tomorrow being Wednesday, the Wednesday before Easter, I am going to be a special guest co-host once again on our good, handsome friend, Mr. Cameron Scott, on his podcast, Cinema Degeneration.
Nice.
I'll be on there.
Now, you guys are reviewing the car?
We're going to talk about the car. Cameron's show is a little more intensive on one movie. I mean, he noodles into one movie and just rips it apart, tears it apart. I'm okay with that. I can do that too.
Yeah.
I can put my surgical gloves on along with my mask I wear on the show. So
Well, what a fine movie to review too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, he what he does is, I guess he does like a month full of like a themed movies, and I think it was like Machines That Kill or something like that, or Wheels That Kill or something this month.
Oh wow, okay.
What do you think I'm going to pick out? I'm not going to pick out Christine. I'm not going to. I'm going to pick out. Now, Killdozer was a strong contender.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one.
But I thought that we just talked about that not too long ago, so I think it was time for me to discuss the car.
Yeah, Tim, the car, that's right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You see how I did that?
Yeah, I did see how you did that right there. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I got 3 other wheelhouses,
definitely.
too, to make a full car. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Definitely one of those from my youth that I love. Oh, my, you know what I mean? Like, when the car came on, it was just like one of those things where everything stopped, like I got to watch it, and it just always was influenced by that movie. Big time.
I only remember maybe seeing it once when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Maybe. I remember it more as I was getting older. It would play every now and then, but I don't think it didn't look very interesting to me. There's certain things like I'm not afraid of cars. I'm not afraid of I'm afraid of a car coming straight at me.
Right, yeah.
I'm not afraid of children. I am afraid of children holding a gun straight to my face. That would scare me.
Yeah.
But on their own, a car can't do anything you can't. I mean, it's guns. I'm not afraid of guns unless a child is pointing one in my face. So it's like, in that case, I am very, very concerned about that gun right there.
Yeah.
But it's just somehow they make that movie work, and it works on a level more like Duel does.
Yes.
Where there is no explanation. There's nothing. I don't even know if I can even articulate the subtle differences and what's better about a movie like The Car over a movie like Maximum Overdrive, which is not horrible. I mean, it's a fun, goofy little movie, but The Car takes the goofiness and kind of wraps it up in a fake silly blanket, or a fake serious blanket, I should say.
Yeah.
And kind of like wraps it up and like a pig in a blanket in a way,
There you go.
And it works somehow, which is very rare actually, so, and I'm not disparaging Christine and movies like that, but I think they've been talked about to death. So,
right. Well, I think The Car is like Maximum Overdrive is a good movie, really, but it doesn't last the test of time to me near as much as like The Car or Duel at all.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
Not even close.
Sure. You said you watched a movie this week that you wanted to mention, something about a rental.
Yeah. The other night I was watching a movie called The Rental. Yes.
Okay.
And, it was a fairly new movie, I'd say, for, in the last couple of years. I did recognize one actress in it, and she was a girl that was on the show Community, and then she also is one of the stars in that, which I know you would like, that Glow Wrestling thing they did on Netflix. The
women's wrestling show.
Yeah, it was like a series. Yeah, which was actually pretty decent. But this was about a rental house, and it was a two couples went there. It was an older brother and a younger brother. And they both, had their significant others when they're with them. And, they go to this rental house. And the gentleman who owns the rental house is kind of a jackass a little bit,
Okay.
So, as the movie goes on, there's a little hanky-panky between the older brother and the younger brother's girlfriend. And they happen to get in the shower together at one point.
They were dirty, I see.
Yeah,
it's helping each other.
Exactly.
I got it.
Just helping each other, right. But then they eventually, like the next day, the one girlfriend finds there's like a camera in the shower head, and then they find another one in the other shower head. And she wants to call the police, but the older brother's like, "We can't because then they'll know about us and things like that." But throughout it's just kind of like a suspense mystery type thing,
like
but there's
a steamy suspense mystery kind of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's also a killer kind of lurking around in the woods where the rental place is. Yes, okay. So you don't really, kind of throws you off because you're not sure if it's the gentleman who owns the place or somebody else. It was actually
now. Is this like a masked, like Jason Voorhees type killer, or just someone in the shadows, or it is someone like that?
Kind of. Well, he kind of is in the shadows, but he has the mask looks like an old man like mask, but it's like really good. Like it's you can't really tell it's a mask, but it's very nondescript kind of, you know. So it did have kind of a Michael Myers feel to it.
Gotcha.
But what I enjoyed about it, there's not a lot going on. There's only the 4 characters for the most part. It's about them trying to figure out what's going on. The 2 trying to keep the secret from the others, you know. But then some things happen, and then it kind of really ramps up. You know, but yes, I actually really enjoyed it because it was simple. It kind of reminded me of an older, maybe 80s, you know, horror flick, slasher flick, you know,
right.
Kind of because where they're out kind of out in the woods. This rental place is kind of like a cabin out in the woods, but very, very. I mean, I was surprised because I put it out at first. I'm like, I'll just check this out. And I started to kind of really get into it. And I'm like, I don't know if I should finish this off. And then it started getting better and better and better, you know, to the point where I was like, wow, it ended pretty well, too. I was like, well, that's pretty crazy, you know. Right. But, yeah, it's kind of like one of those, Tim, where, I don't know, you explain, like with, you know, there's cameras, you know, throughout the house. You know,
somebody's,
like
not everybody's who they think they seem to be. And there's like spying going on and everything. And
gotcha.
A lot of
intrigue. Pretty good, though. Really good. Yes, yeah,
Gotcha.
And then they start turning on each other, kind of thing. You know,
your favorite.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Shit makes me nervous, but that's good. Well,
yeah, me too.
Well, very good. Okay, so the rentals. So maybe just do a search on anywhere.
Decent,
really look for it, and it's in the last 5 or 10, 5 years or so. So take a look and search that on your favorite streaming platform. And you said DirecTV. So if you have DirecTV, maybe do a little search. On there to check
and actually,
that out.
Pretty decent little horror movie. Mystery horror, you know, like that. I was surprised. I was like, oh boy, okay, that's not bad, not too bad. You know, It's got all the elements and things that you and I both like. You know what I mean?
Right.
So kind of put together. So I enjoyed it actually. So
well,
it wasn't real long either. So
well, that's good. That's good. Right.
Yeah.
Let's get to a couple of things I watched. First up, real quick here, Mr. Ben Harley. Just wanted to report back last week. You did have the robotic voice going on. We did mention,
yes, sir.
We are having, and if you're listening, you can probably tell we're having problems here with our internet connectivity to do this show. So we're trying different things every week, and I'm trying to ensure that our good pal here, Mr. Ben Harley, is audible and listenable, and you can understand. But you're going to hear the quality coming in and out. We can't do anything about it. We do not know what's going on. It's gotten to the point where I'm getting upset. Mr. Ben Harley, I'm waving my cane at my Mac.
Yeah, you are.
Just a little tidbit there of info, so we do apologize, but you know, hopefully you ride with us on this. Look, you don't think I'd prefer to have a perfect signal? Oh,
right.
Lordy.
Yeah.
So, all right. So a few movies to watch, Mr. Ben Harley. Enough of that talk.
Sure.
Not technical talk nonsense here. From 1998. We watched a movie that would probably blow your little mind if you've seen it.
Okay.
Watch the movie Pi. I don't know if you've seen the movie Pi. P-I. Yes, the mathematical symbol for pi is the actual. Darren Aronofsky directed it, and it's a movie about a guy who is a mathematical genius, but he's kind of a hermit, and he's in his apartment in New York, and he has a computer. Remember, we're in 1998. Okay, so he has his own home-built computer, you know, and he is, again, a mathematical genius, a savant, a prodigy. You know, I mean, this guy, knows everything about math. And he's convinced that there's patterns everywhere, and there is. And I find this stuff very fascinating. So he's into all these different kinds of geometries and stuff. He loves finding patterns in nature and stuff. And he's convinced there's a pattern in the stock market.
Okay.
And then there's some Hasidic Jews that start following him around that are also looking for the Torah code. And they think that is involved with the stock market as well. This is basically like if Eraserhead had a plot. It's shot in like a really oversaturated black and white kind of thing, like Eraserhead was. It's very artsy. The camera doesn't know how to sit still through part of it. You know, it's very indie film for 1998, but it's got a fascinating plot, and it's got actually a really cool techno music soundtrack, good.
Really?
It gives the movie a beat. You know what I mean? Like they use it right. They just don't throw in a cool song out of nowhere and pull it away. And that's it. the actual score for it is a techno thing, and it works really, really well. It's a very, very cool movie. If you haven't seen Pi, or if you haven't seen it, if you're in the mood for something a little different, it's very, very cool. It's a cool movie, but you got to be ready to like sit there and watch a movie about math. It's a suspense thriller about math. You don't have to know the equations.
Sure, right.
But you have to like
a quiz at the end of the movie.
No, there's no quiz at the end of the movie. No. But anyway, it's a very good movie. Now, there's a couple movies here, Mr. Ben Harley, I want to talk to you about, and these are some nature run amok type movies, and I know you like that stuff. And I know you're exhaling right now. We went from Pi, the movie about math. Now it's like killer animals, Mr. Ben Harley. A couple of killer animal movies. So first up from 2009. Watch the movie from Korea called Chawz.
Chawz.
Chawz. Yes. So basically, we have a Jaws grizzly hybrid that involves a killer boar.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm in. I'm intrigued. I'm ready.
Right. Yeah. Here's the thing with it. It knows what it is. It is definitely a Jaws ripoff. It's just as ripoffy as the ripoffs we like. It's not trying to hide the fact it's a ripoff. It is celebrating the fact that it's a ripoff. And it also is technically, I would call it a horror comedy.
Okay.
It's not quite Airplane and that goofy, but it's silly enough where you know it's intentional and it's comedic. And so, yes, the comedy elements are definitely comic, and the horror elements are definitely horror to it. Not too bad. It's a mix of practical boar and CG. The CG boar is awful. It's terrible. The practical boar isn't that bad because it's shot pretty well.
Okay.
Remember we were talking about a week or two ago, I think it was a movie, Journey into the Unknown Valley, I think it was called. Let me have to look here. Let me double check that. It was the big Journey to the Forbidden Valley, it was called. And that was the Bigfoot movie, the Yaren movie, I believe. That was the practical Bigfoot movie that Chris Walas did. And it was more like not a family movie, but it was a little bit of a rougher kind of family movie I think I was talking about. And I mentioned how the Bigfoot's really good, but we're running out of cameramen, I think, that know how to shoot practical effects.
Right.
They're used to being able to stick a CG thing in a frame and just put it in there. Well, it doesn't work as well when you have a practical effect you're trying to help by not shooting it harshly and showing the zipper and the back and stuff like that. This film seemed to still have people that knew how to shoot a practical effect quickly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, close, quick. Give a sense of what it looks like, just enough to get what it looks like and cut,
right.
Yeah, because we all know, like, the problem, like, for instance, your favorite movie, Jaws. The only time you really ever hear people complain about the shark is when they don't cut, is when it just hangs on it for a second, and then you see the rubbery mouth and stuff like that going, It's not too bad, though, Mr. Ben Harley. I mean, I've seen a lot worse than this, but it is a little bit of a long movie. It's not perfect by any sense of the imagination, but still, it's good enough to watch. Again, called Chawz. And that was on somewhere on Amazon. You have to look it up.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
I have to look that one up.
Amazon.
Yeah, I need something, a couple new things to watch.
Right. Well, I watched an old thing that I thought you might want to hear about here for a minute. From 1976. Yeah. What else is from 1976?
Angie?
That's right, Angio. The lovely and gracious Angio is from 1976. Yeah. Also, another one of your favorite things is from 1976, Mr. Ben Harley. Do you know what that is?
What's that?
Grizzly.
Oh, yeah.
We watched Grizzly. Yeah. Oh, baby.
Nice. Love Grizzly.
I got me some Christopher George, some Richard Jekyll, and some Andrew Prine in a soup, in a Grizzly soup right there.
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy. Let's talk about this movie was completely 100% created in the editing room. Not that most movies aren't,
Right.
For crying out loud. It's a lot of shots of people laying on the ground, fearing for their life from the cameraman. And then other shots that have no relation to the shot before of a grizzly pawing at the camera, growling and stuff. Just tying those things together, saying, "Trust me, there's a grizzly staring at the guy."
Yeah, there's something right.
Right. And it happens so often, and mostly because that's a real bear through 90 to 95% of that movie. And so
right.
There has to be a plexiglass thing between the characters and stuff. There has to be something,
right.
But I'm telling you, that movie, it holds up. It really does. It's actually getting better with age, I think.
Right, Tim. Yeah.
When's the last time you saw it?
Not too long ago. I watched it within the last couple months.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was watching while I was training, so I wasn't really, but I know the movie pretty well. And yeah, I every time I watch it, I still enjoy it. It doesn't go like, maybe I don't like this movie as much, but I do. I always have,
Right.
Such a good movie, I think.
Well, and I think the kills in that movie are horror movie kills.
Oh, yeah.
The deaths are horror. They are straight up Roger Corman-esque monster movie, cheap gore effects and stuff, just vicious attacks. Like the little kid, for crying out loud. I hate to laugh, Harley. I really do. Yeah. But it's like, I'll get the kid. Get the kid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about it, but I'm mostly because I know it's coming. But that is just something you didn't see you still don't see that in films. No.
And then, what always freaked me out as a kid with Richard Jekyll's character, where he gets buried.
Yeah.
And he gets attacked, then he gets buried, and then he wakes up, and then he gets attacked again. It's just, that always freaked me out as a kid. Just absolutely freaked me out, and but yeah, it's just.
Well, you think the bear would take care of him in the first place, and then you think he's going to get away or he's okay, and then the movie toys with you in that scene. It really does toy with you, so it's pretty good in that sense too. I still have the same issue though. I don't find bears scary. I think they're beautiful. I think they're cute.
Yeah,
I think bears are cute, actually.
I do too. Yeah. Until one stands up in front of you.
This is true. I don't want to see a bear. I find a lot of things beautiful that I don't really want to see face to face, and that's certainly one of them. For instance, a lion. I think a lion is adorable. I would like to take a lion and body hug the lion and roll down a hill with a lion and going, and by the time we hit the bottom of that, I would be lion poop.
Right.
He would already have digested me, and at least an arm would be coming out the back end. So I'm saying half digested arm be coming out the back end. So I do get it. I don't want to see it face to face, face to snout.
Sure.
But they're cute. And it's hard for me. I think it's the reason the Prophecy holds up so well for me is even though the bear is silly, it's not a bear. It's not just a bear. They make the bear ugly at least.
Yeah.
And I think it's and I think it's kind of what put that movie over the top, because what is the huge difference between Grizzly and Prophecy?
The bear, really.
Yeah. The bear, that's really it. But besides that, there isn't much. And so it's just the fact that has a little bit of that science fiction edge to it.
But that Grizzly just will always be one of my favorites movies of all time. It just is. Do I think it's the best movie ever? No, but I like it. And I think it's a good movie. Plus, it's just another one of those when I was a kid that just, affected me watching, and still, I still like it. I just still think it's a good movie.
Well, it's one of the superior Jaws ripoffs too. I mean, you have that. You have Piranha, which is very, very good. And a couple other films that are, hell, The Car isn't too far off that. Those other films like that. That it's definitely one of the good ones. That was a huge movie too. I mean, my favorite film, Halloween, is the one that killed its reputation because it was it was the most successful independent film in history for 2 years until Halloween came out, and then Halloween came out, and then it dethroned Grizzly basically. But At least it was Halloween that did it, and not some goofy movie we can't stand or something like that. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It wasn't like Chariots of Fire or some crap like
Yeah,
that.
and I will say Halloween is a superior film.
It is. This is true. But I have. I tell you what, though, I probably watch Grizzly more because it's more of a ball to watch.
Yeah.
It's more fun. So
Yeah,
and I would just like to mention too one of the proud historic moments that I had with my pal over here, Mr. Ben Harley, was we got to spend time for a weekend with Andrew Prine. And it wasn't like we hung out with him all weekend, but we did stop by a couple times and talk to him. He was such a gentleman. Not only was he wearing an ascot,
yeah,
which we're in Hollywood now, yay!
Yeah.
You know? But he was such a fine gentleman. And when we mentioned William Girdler, the director of this and Day of the Animals, The Manitou, and other fine films, he got pretty emotional quickly.
Yeah, he got a little choked up on it. Yeah.
He did. And William Girdler was actually scouting locations for a different film in a helicopter. I believe it was a helicopter, went into some power lines. And killed him.
Right, yeah.
And he was only like 30 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
So imagine like this guy already had like 10 years of movies under his belt. He was only 30. Can you imagine? I think he was 30. He might have been 31 or 29, but he was right at 30. Can you imagine what he would have done?
Yeah.
Had he lived?
Yeah, it would have. Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing. It's like a lot of these guys, like some of their earlier films are, they're good, but then they just go on and do better and better. You know, like I love Day of the Animals. I love Grizz. You know, it's like these are such good films, man. You know,
they were unique. They were unique. Even The Manitou is an awful movie, but it sure is unique. You know, it sure is its own thing. It wasn't trying to be something else. It was terrible. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's awful, but then again, you look at it like, but this looks like if this guy got a good script, if he got, I mean, he was getting there, like you could tell. And I honestly think had William Girdler lived, I mean, we'd maybe even have a different subgenre of horror film because he was finding strange things. I mean, Day of the Animals is one of the strangest films I've ever seen. It's a bizarre film. Yeah.
It's really got a feel to it, too. Like, it really, it's just like, you can reach out and touch that film. You know what I mean? It's gritty, too, I mean, it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. It was hard for me to take when I told you I saw this at a drive-in when I was a little kid. It was hard for me to take, man. It was like, wow. So, but anyway, good time watching Grizzly. We had a good time meeting Andrew Prine. He was such a great, cool guy.
Super nice guy.
Makes me want to watch William Girdler movies. You could tell, and everybody had something good to say about this guy. So anyway, it's sad he's gone, but he did leave us with some very fascinating movies. And yes. Speaking of fascinating movies, Mr. Ben Harley, let's get to our official film.
Our official fascinating movie?
Yes. From 1981.
81.
What's 81?
Timo's favorite year in cinema history.
That's right. The best, according to me, year in cinema is 1981. I think mostly because American Werewolf in London, like to me, is like the pinnacle of amazing films. So I think that's at least one thing. Wolfen I'd throw in there and other things. But anyway, Galaxy of Terror, Mr. Ben Harley, is our official film. Not sure that Galaxy of Terror was in my mind when I formulated the 1981 equation. I don't think I put that into my equation. I don't think I... let's see here. Let me get out to...
You don't want to dumb down 81, did you?
Oh, God, no. Let me get out Movie Guy here, give you a real short storyline synopsis, if I can, here, for Galaxy of Terror. Here we go.
Terror. Yeah.
Science... Oh, God. It starts off saying science fiction suspense thriller.
Uh-oh.
Well, thanks. That's usually what that covers about everything we talk about in the show. Science fiction suspense thriller. What we have here is a science fiction suspense thriller drama mystery western musical. All right, just going to do what it says. I am an IMDb. If you don't believe me, look it up yourself. This is what I got to read. This is what it is. So, Movie Guy, it's time for me to morph into Movie Guy and give you the short storyline synopsis finally here for Galaxy of Terror. Here we go.
Okay.
Science fiction suspense thriller western drama musical in which a rescue spaceship crew meets up with horrors projected by their own imaginations. Okay.
Huh. Okay.
I'm going to give you this really quick. I'm going to try to give you this really quick. Like, I'm going to try to decipher that for you in a way that I think might help if I needed to tell somebody what the hell this thing was about. I tried this with you, Mr. Ben Harley. Ben Harley calls me on the phone and says, I watched Galaxy of Terror, but I couldn't tell you I did.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I know it went through my mind and my eyes, but nothing stuck. Nothing filtered into my brain pan. I don't know what the hell's going on.
No,
I tried to help, right? And then you watched it again. I think it did help, probably. I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe it helped a tad. I'm going to give myself a tad bit of credit. That's it. I don't deserve any more, and I don't want any more, but a tad. Okay, so, right. It's very much like Aliens. It is an Alien ripoff. This is a Roger Corman produced Alien ripoff. Roger Corman never saw an Alien ripoff he didn't produce.
Right.
Okay. So this is one of them. Yeah. And in this movie, we have a rescue team going to find out what happened to another bunch of schlubs on a planet.
Right. Yeah.
Who get menaced by something. And very briefly, you're introduced to this in the beginning of the film. Beginning of the film, there's a bunch of carnage. You don't know who anybody is, nor do you ever find out who anybody is in that beginning scene. And these people are sent, to go find out what happened to these people. So you've seen this before in Aliens.
Yeah.
And there's a little alien and aliens in it and stuff like that. So I know this came out before Aliens, but you still saw this kind of thing in Alien, where there's a beacon coming from a planet. They go down and find out what it is and stuff like that. Right. So we're in the same story zone, basically. And when they get there, instead of they all are menaced by different things. And what it is it's not necessarily an alien like the creature in Alien. It's an alien presence that manifests itself into each of the characters' darkest fears. Now, this damn story device has been done to death.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hate it. I hate that story device. It's such a cop-out to me. It's such a cop-out. It's just an excuse when you can't decide what monster to use. Okay? Right, so that's one thing. B, I'm never afraid because I know everything is happening in the people's own fears.
Yes.
They're not afraid of something external. They're afraid of something internal. I'm not afraid of your problems. I'm afraid of my problems.
Right, yeah.
It's like I'm not afraid of kids. I'm not really afraid of bears unless they're right in front of me. I'm not afraid of other people's fears. I'm afraid of my own. So that right away puts a little question mark in front of my head as how do I identify with this if they're not my fears? Yeah. So it's very hard. If they landed on like an alien, they land on the planet, they go back in the spaceship and the alien hitches a ride with them. Well, in this movie, then when they land, they're damaged and they just never get back up off the ground. So they basically stay the whole time on this planet. And they find instead of an alien spacecraft, they find a pyramid type of thing. And that's where everything bad happens is in this pyramid. Where things go wrong on the planet. And so that's it. So they keep, and really the only thing holding them there, I think besides maybe some engine trouble, is the fact they haven't accounted for all of the people that were there.
Right. They haven't, they've still trying to search out, then they do find the other ship and kind of go through it and see.
Sure.
But
I get a little confused when they're on the ship versus when they find the ancient pyramid. But there is a ship that was also looking at the pyramid, and that's the ship that's been lost that they're a rescue vessel for. And so until they find all of the crew from that ship, they're not going to leave, I guess. Which, brother, I'm sorry, but if you're on some kind of vessel out in the cosmos, and I go to rescue you, and I find half your crew slaughtered, I'm not looking for you.
Out.
I'm not looking for you. I'm just telling you.
I'm out. Yeah.
I'm leaving. Going home. I'm going to make a report saying they're gone.
Nothing good's going to end up happening. Nothing good comes out of it.
Right. So, so this is one of these movies that has a very interesting production values. James Cameron was the production manager. So he basically ran the set. In a way, and he created a lot of the creativity to this, not the direction necessarily. He was second unit director, so he directed the kills and the attacks from the different creatures and stuff like that. And remember, what was interesting is we talked a couple weeks ago about Piranha 2.
Yeah.
And I told you that the producers of Piranha 2 were on the set one day of this movie. And that's where they saw James Cameron's ingenuity with no money, because it was a Roger Corman movie.
Okay.
So they saw him doing all these like nifty, no budget effects everywhere and set design. And that's how he got the job for Piranha 2.
Okay.
Basically. But yeah, so you have Alien meets Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that. And actually Robert Englund's in this too.
It's funny, yeah. And they got Sid Haig.
Sid Haig is in it.
Aaron Moran.
Johnny.
Oh, yeah. Without Chachi, no Chachi.
Right. Zalman King, who he did like 9.5 weeks. The jerk. There's a guy in this movie that's such a dick. He's over the top. He's never nice. He starts off being a dick. Right. And that was the guy's Balon, I guess his name in the movie. He's a way over the top prick in this anyway. But yeah, Zalman King.
He is.
He did like Red Shoe Diaries and stuff. He became like a director producer of like
really? Okay.
Softcore type stuff like Red Shoe Diaries and things like that. Yeah. Very, very successful. Grace Zabriskie as Captain Trentor.
Yeah.
She's a wild one, let me tell you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure to run or to give her a bouquet of flowers. I'm not sure.
Right.
I don't
know. Like Nurse Ratchet.
A little bit, yeah. Got that kind of look. Kind of got that to her. And then I guess the main guy in the movie is Edward Albert as Cabron or Cabron. That is Eddie Albert's son, believe it or not.
Is it really?
Yes. Okay. So his name is Edward Albert, and or Edward Albert Jr.
Oh, he's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's some of the crew. What do you think about some of it? Have you seen this?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
And I've almost watched it a few different times over the years. It's come up on either my Roku or on Amazon or what have you. And I never really, I never pushed the button, Tim. I was like, I don't know. I never took the leap. But
right.
The only one that really kind of, to me, would be like the biggest fear in the thing is when Robert Englund's character becomes like a dual character. He's like fighting himself. Because the rest of it just seems like monsters to me, they all kind of look sort of similar,
Well,
so that kind of throws me a little. I'm like, I don't know about, but whatever. I mean,
there are monsters, and I understand that and stuff, but I think most of those monsters are the manifestation of their fears. So we don't. So I think it's more of an alien presence to the point where I'm not really sure exactly what the real alien. Well, there's sort of an awful twist ending at the end, but let's just put it. Let's take that off the table. Yeah. What I'm saying is, whatever is manifesting itself, I'm not sure we actually see the original form of whatever alien presence is doing this. So even though you get monsters, when you think about it, they are very different monsters. There might all be slimy. But one has like the tentacle arms. One's like more of a maggot. One has like a giant space monster leader guy head with glowing eyes. Now like Sid Haig on the other hand, he plays like this tough guy. He plays like the tough guy in the crew and stuff, which is a great casting.
Stars.
Yeah, and he has like these glaives. Like these well, that's what they call them, Krull. But they have like a throwing star, like a glaive, and they're like crystals. And this is his thing. This is his weapon of choice. This is how this is his manhood. My glaives, my crystal weapons,
Yeah.
And he gets attacked by his own crystal weapons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they turn on him.
His own arm off. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Arm off. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you that effect. There's an effect where he chops his arm off. And then the arm that's laying there, the one he chopped off, picks up one of the the Krull.
Yeah, the glaives.
The glaives. And throws it at him. And I tell you what, that was an awesome effect because the arm's laying there chopped off, and it picks it up and throws it. That effect really blew my mind. So that's the best effect of this whole movie was right there. I was like, wow, I was really impressed at how well that looked. His character is kind of funny in it a little bit too, but it's funny in this, Tim. Everybody either shoots first, asks questions later.
Like James Woods in an 80s cop movie.
Yeah. Right. Shoot first, throw first.
Right.
And then, so.
Well, I think in Sid Haig too, like his character is pretty cool. He actually he's mostly doesn't have any dialogue except like one line. in the whole
Right,
movie. I don't
yeah.
even know if you noticed it or not, but he has one line, which is a bad line, by the way. You could tell they tried to make him say one thing, and it was, of course,
Yeah.
the wrong thing. Just make the guy completely silent. Don't make him say a line. But anyway,
Right.
that's why he agreed to do the movie. He said he called Roger Corman and he said, "I'll agree to the movie, but under one stipulation." The first thing Roger Corman says, "You ain't getting more money."
No.
He goes, "I don't want more money." He goes, "Yeah, Sid Haig was telling the story. And he goes, I know Roger Corman well enough. I wasn't asking for more money. That's not, you're not
Money,
going
right,
to get
yeah.
it out of him, No. He said he wanted to do the role mute because he said that he didn't think the dialogue fit the character. So he thought he could just act in a mode, which he did a good job. I mean, he's perfect for this. And I think we're to the point too where Sid Haig, I think Sid Haig to me seems like and I could be totally wrong about this, so don't come flying at me with all, hey, went to the actor's studio, Sid Haig to me seems like a guy who learned how to act on the job.
Right.
And I think Bruce Campbell's like that. Learned how to act on the job. And became who they are. And I think at this point, Sid Haig was strong. I mean, he was at the height of his powers, I think. He was in enough of these movies and movies himself to know, how to be in this movie and how to act and be in movies in general. And he knew how to play to his strengths at this point. So he was very good because some of this cast is a little green. Including Robert Englund. Robert Englund is in this, a very pivotal role.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, Harley. This movie, there's a couple characters that kind of get iced quickly, but a lot of the characters are, you do kind of hang with them for a while. They don't die quickly, you kind of do know these people are. And some of the characters you think are going to die quickly, they don't. They go toward the end of the film almost. That to me is interesting. But also that I think the cast is great, though. We didn't even mention Ray Walston.
Right, that's right. Yeah, he's in it.
Mr. Ben Harley, Ray Walston, we all know him from, the Uncle Martin from My Favorite Martian.
Yeah, My Favorite Martian.
Right.
He was Poop Deck Pappy.
Poop Deck
Papa.
Happy.
Happy.
Poop Deck Happy.
Pappy, yeah.
Woo. And Mr. Hand from Fast
Yeah,
Times.
Mr. Hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love me some Ray Walston. What a great.
He's awesome. He is so awesome.
And as you watch this movie, you can almost tell why he took it because it kind of gives him a chance to do something a little different, a little more menacing. In this movie,
and he does it. Yeah, he actually does a pretty good job of it.
He does.
Because he's just kind of you're not really sure about him.
Right.
And then after a while, you're like, oh no, he's bad. He's bad always.
Right.
But I actually liked him, and then I thought he was good.
Yeah. A couple of interesting little things. The set dresser for this movie was Bill Paxton.
Really?
Yeah. Well, when you think about, you start looking at this lineage of stuff. You get Bill Paxton working as a set dresser on a movie that James Cameron is the set designer for, basically, the production designer for. Well, I mean, 7 years later or 6 years later, Bill Paxton's co-starring in Aliens. And if you look at the sets, what does it look like?
A lot like Alien.
In Aliens, which Cameron just did a few years later. You start seeing things and the sets too. And they made sure you do this. I've read this and seen it everywhere. The sets were basically made with McDonald's quarter pounder, the old styrofoam things and stuff, and the drink carriers just kind of painted and plastered on walls. And they work. Those things work.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, this has a big time Aliens feel to me.
It does.
Big time.
It does.
I mean, even their suits and type, stuff. I know they ain't Marines and stuff, but a lot of it is just very familiar, very similar. And from the way it starts to, not the way it ends, that's for sure. But most of the thing, it's like them kind of milling around, and it's just to me, it's just like Aliens. I mean, almost identical. You know what I mean? Which. I don't think it's nowhere near as good. I mean, I love Aliens. That's one of my favorites. But,
I think that this movie would have been much better had they just had monsters on the planet and just made it more I think this was I think Roger Corman's idea, by the way, and I think Roger Corman he jumped the shark here, as they call it.
Okay,
I think he took the Alien ripoff to a place where it's it's already weird enough where it's. That's the right term. It's already weird enough how many Alien ripoffs have gone into the rapey alien sex zone, and this movie is no exception to that at all. Like that's already weird enough. Yeah. But then they kind of throw in there's this weird subplot in this movie, and it starts with it, where there's like this godlike character called the Master. And the Master is playing like some sort of human chess game with people's like with their destinies.
Okay.
And his face is glowing, and his voice is like this, disguised kind of, you know. And you're kind of like, you know, you didn't even need that at all.
No. Because it starts off in the beginning of the movie, then at one point you're like, I kind of forgot about it. I'm like, what the heck was that all about?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it comes back towards at the end, you know, you're like, oh, wait. Oh, okay.
Right. It's like he's like, if this were Marvel Comics, he'd be
the Beyonder.
Right. Something like that, where he's like the all-knowing, like a supreme being or whatever, and it's completely unnecessary. He's pulling the strings. It's a lot like ancient myth. It's a lot like the gods and stuff, and they're pulling the strings of the puny mortals and stuff. And it is a story like that. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't need to be. It needs to be a monster movie. You know, it needs to be simplified a little bit. And I think Roger Corman outthought himself in this one, because it ruins what could be a very good B exploitation alien ripoff.
Yeah, definitely. Because I didn't understand it at first. I was like, because there's like this thing at the beginning where they talk like Hawk the Slayer or some kind of, where they give you this narration at the beginning. If this is what, you know, like in these ancient times and this, you know,
like a fantasy movie, like a swords and knights and mystical wizard kind of like Krull or like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that. But then they set the kind of mythos into an alien world.
Yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't even fit. It doesn't fit at all to me. It's bad. And then at the end, and you're like, oh man, it's, you know, it kind of reappears, you know, or like, I forgot about that.
Yes,
part,
it tries to wrap itself up. And it's almost like they shot the movie, didn't have an ending for it, and just stuck in the beginning and the end to kind of make it wrap up or tie up or something. And it's so like, all I know is when Edward Albert's standing there and the pelvic laser beams come out of his like belt buckle area and destroy what would be the Master, I guess, or whatever. I know we're getting a little ahead of you here, folks, but there's this moment where these two characters, one's the Master, one's Eddie Albert, are standing there, and Eddie Albert's like being told what the fuck's been going on for the last hour and a half in his life, or my life, actually. And so Eddie Albert just stands there and goes, okay, and there's nothing said. All of a sudden, there's like these cartoon from the belt buckle area that destroys somebody, and it's like, and Angela looked at me, and I looked over. I was like, "Guys do that. You just don't know. It's something we don't talk about with you women." And I just turned by and didn't say anything else. I was like, "Yeah, we do that sometimes. Don't worry about that. That's a mistake. It should have been edited out." You know, it's like, what was that? You know, and then it's over, and it's like, wait, come on now.
And then he becomes the Master. Like, wait a second.
Yes. Okay. So basically, what we have here at the end, and I'm going to be 2021 and be very PC about this. What we have is a master transmission.
Yes.
So this movie is a master. They're transitioning one master to another in this movie, and then you're sitting there going, what?
Well, yeah. Why?
That's a lot. That?
Yeah.
That's even like if I were the Master, I'd have to be really bored to set that whole thing up. It's like, or you could have just said, "Hey, you want to be the Master?"
Yeah.
You know?
Because it just doesn't make sense, because it's supposed to be like, this is a game that we play. Like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, oh man, come on now. What's going on here? Like, it just does. It was just one of them, like, you know, Scooby-Doo type thing. Oh, I don't know. Like, what?
Well, it shifts it. It shifts the movie again, and you don't know what the hell's going on. This movie, if you step back and look at it, this movie, we're explaining it to you, and we're correct. But while you're watching it, you got no idea what's going on. Like, as soon as you think you've settled into something going on, you're trying to ignore things you didn't understand earlier in the film. And right when you think you're getting to the point where you're doing fine, something pops its head up again that you don't understand that has something to do with the beginning. But that is never explained good, and you don't care about it. You just want to see the people go to the planet and try to rescue people and let them find out what. I mean, it's aliens. Seriously, it is. But Aliens gives you aliens. It gives you what you're looking for. This movie's giving you what you're not looking for, and that's what hurts it. Look, the movie was a huge success, mostly because of the scene where the maggot has its way with the pretty blonde and with the slime and everything. That was big stuff for 81. That was that scene alone, I think, made it a bunch of money. People wanted to see that. It looks really good too, and that's frustrating.
Yes, yeah.
I think it looks good. I mean, the effects are
really good.
Yes.
In it. I mean, really good. They're over the top. They're good. They're well done. A lot of it's just too confusing. Like some of the sets, just everything looks the same. You know, you never really know where they're at. Never look like from one place to another. It still looks like the same stuff. I don't know.
True.
Just a lot of it's very confusing and just not well thought out. I guess that for me, you know, but it's like you said, some of the effects are incredibly well done.
Right.
I just think it had a great cast too.
It did have a great cast. It had a great cast. It had James Cameron did a great job on it. Everything is great except for where it goes, except for where the story goes. You don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need it. You don't want to see it that way. You don't. No. You don't want that kind of. It's almost trying to be almost like poignant, and it's not poignant. It's only poignant if you believe in a robe-giving guy in the universe called the Master, whose face glows like an Atari game or something. Right. Otherwise, you're like, what is this stuff? And so, and it shifts. So you start off with this weird, bizarre 70s like sci-fi thing with the Master playing chess with some old. We have another old swamp hag in this movie too. Yeah. I mean,
we've been on a freak out lately.
Yeah, but and who was she? Who was the swamp hag? That's the other thing too. Like
she was a narrator or something, wasn't she? She narrated the beginning too.
That's fine, but I don't have a personal narrator, so it still confuses me.
Right,
it still blows my mind. It confuses me. So you get that, and then all of a sudden you get what I guess they're trying to set the whole plot and explanation up. So you have like the captain of the ship talking to these people, and these people are telling the captain what he needs to do. And they're basically saying, you need to assemble this crew and go rescue these people. But I'm only telling you what I think they're talking about.
Right.
Because I really don't know. And I watched, I know you did too. I think I watched these scenes like 10 times.
Yeah, I watched it twice.
And I could not absorb what I was hearing. I just quit trying. I'm like, I'm just going to talk about it in a review. I can't absorb what they're talking about. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what's going on. So then you get to a linear part of the movie, which is the good part, which is just the ship going to the planet, discovering the ship and the pyramid. Even when they're getting menaced by their fears, you're kind of hanging in there. You're okay.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to the end where everyone's dead except for like Edward Albert, and they all come back as like zombie monsters.
Yeah,
and then he gets into a ridiculous, like climatic, like quick kung fu fight.
Yeah, what was it?
Well, kung fu, if kung fu is invented by Abbott and Costello.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell that was either. I'm like, what is this now?
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
It is right. It's just too many things happening in this. And it's frustrating too because it doesn't need that much going on. Harley, it doesn't need. They needed to breathe a little bit. You know, the genius of Alien to me. Yeah. If you watch Alien, even way more so than Aliens. Yeah. If you watch Alien, the genius is it breathes.
Yes.
You have static shots of the ship just with the lights turning on. Think about this. You have all the shots of the hallways. You're allowed to let the place be absorbed into you. It's very, it ramps up.
Yes.
It gets going. This movie does not have that kind of, the timing and the pace is way off. It's all over the place. And the plot and the ideas, there's too many ideas in this movie.
Are way over all over the place. Yeah, they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I
don't know.
Yeah. There's lots of cartoony, gurgly, and fart sound effects. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, and they are cartoony filmation,
like
cartoony, like sound effects.
The laser blasts are pretty funny too, and some of them are like,
yeah, and they're bad. They never knew how to make those good back then. Star Wars was the only one that looked half decent when it came to laser blast ever. I don't know why, but that's it. And yes, it's an Alien ripoff, but sort of. But isn't Alien a shameless ripoff itself? I mean, isn't Alien itself a B movie dressed up like an A picture?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
it's the Terror from Beyond Space. It is. I mean, dressed up. Yeah. It totally is. Planet of the Vampires.
Yes, that's true too. Yeah,
I mean, and that's what I'm talking about. But when they shot Alien, they slowed it down. They said, "Look, we're going to spend some money on the set. We're going to show it to you." You know, that's why I said in the opening of that movie and everything else, it's slow. It's allowing you to see things. It's allowing you to absorb because it's a lot. When you have a movie set in the future, it's a lot to take in. Don't just jump in real fast. It's a lot. It's like, whoa, what's that? Whoa, wow. Who are the people playing chess? Who's the guy with the glowing face piece and then the old sea hag talking to this guy over here? And then the other thing too is like when they want to do the rescue mission, it looks like The Empire Strikes Back or something. They have like a bunch of people in some kind of hangar rushing around to get people into a ship. It's like, slow down. Don't forget the food.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this movie, Jim. There's just a lot. There's like way too much, you know, and it's too confusing. It really was confusing to me. Right. You know, and I don't like to be confused. And then, not only is it confusing, then you're like, at the ending is just like, I don't care. Like, what is going on with this? And like, it'd have been fine if the people would have come out and attacked him again. You know, like they're zombies, like they were. Right. But we don't need them. We didn't need the master.
We don't need master transmission at the end of this movie.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, the final thing I'm going to say about this, and I've been waiting to tell you this. I thought you might at least find this interesting, if not a little frustrating itself. But the Edward Albert, by the way, Eddie Albert, when I said this Eddie Albert's son, if anybody didn't know, Eddie Albert was the star of Green Acres. Now everybody knows who Eddie Albert is. So this is his son. So Edward Albert's character, they were trying to get, and they almost got, I think. Because if you look at the costumes, this is going to make sense to you. Because there was another movie that came out around the same time that they were also wanting to kind of chip in on. That's Empire Strikes Back, a little movie you know something about. Mark Hamill almost was the Edward Albert character.
Oh, really?
They wanted Mark Hamill for it. I think they almost got him to do it because he wanted to do a horror movie. Okay. And so they were going to have him. They really sought after him hardcore in this movie to do this. Yeah. So that would have been Mark Hamill. Would have worked. It would have been all right. It would have been interesting, a little different.
Yeah, definitely.
Wouldn't have helped master transmission.
No.
Don't worry, we all do that. Yeah. It's just something guys do. Don't. It's a belt buckle. Why do you think guys wear big belt buckles? It's not just to look cool.
That's right. No.
All right, Mr. Ben Harley. Listen, right. So, that all being said, it's a confusing movie. It's a silly movie. I don't hate it though because there's like the individual parts are very vastly superior to the whole at the end, to the entire product put together. The individual pieces are really cool. They're not put together in a good way.
No.
So I'm going to give this movie, and look, I'm going to give this. I can't poop on it because of that. Another thing I wanted to mention too. I'm sorry. I really did want to mention this real quick. I did mention that the Zalman King guy is just a prick from the beginning of the movie. It's like, I get it, you're a dick. You got to be human at some point to make your character human. Stop being. I thought he was a robot, for God's sake. He was such a dick. I did. He never switched his facial expression or anything. He was just a dick. From the second he's on screen, he's a dick to everybody. It's like, who let that guy in the ship? Did not anyone notice what a dick this guy is?
Yeah, his name is Ben too.
so there's that going on, and then Erin Moran's character, she is just not a tough person at all. She falls to pieces so easy. She's a damsel in distress. I mean, I'm surprised she didn't get the rest of the cast coffee. You know, what it is to me, it's sort of like the Zalman King character. It's not an offensive thing. It's more like, it's not realistic. I don't think they would send such a dickhole up with these other people for the personality reasons. I don't think they'd send Erin Moran up either because she's such a fragile personality.
Right.
She falls to pieces immediately, you know? So I just, it's so unrealistic. And and Edward Albert is constantly consoling her. It's okay. And they kind of have a thing going, but you never really feel that fire.
No.
You just loud and know they're into each other. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And they almost set it up like Zalman King being jealous, but you never really hear that. He's just a dick.
He is, man. Like, he's such a jackass, man. To everybody. He's about he's almost as threatening as the aliens to the rest of the crew. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. He wants to shoot everybody. You know, he wants to.
Right.
He almost kills Robert Englund's character. You know, he wants to beat him up. It's crazy. Yeah.
Right. Well, and not only that, Mr. Ben Harley, but it's absolutely clear that Zalman King at some point in the late 70s went to his plastic surgeon, sat down in the chair and said, "Make me into Marjoe Gortner." That being said, I'm going to give this movie a mild grape ape up. One that's it's almost drank all the way down. A little bit of cigarette ash in it, and it's a little too warm. But it's that time of the night where you'll still drink it because it's all that's left. I like the way it looks. There is like a half hour of a really cool movie here. Then the rest of it's kind of like confusing, jumbled up nonsense, but it is a hot mess. It is a hot mess.
It is.
And I like looking at it. I just don't like paying attention to what's going on, but I like looking at it. So very, very mild grape ape up. It's more of a curiosity movie than one that you're going to be loving to watch. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
What you think?
I'm going to give the same thing, Tim. Very mild grape ape up.
Okay.
I kind of want to poop on it, but I just can't because some of the effects were way too good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm as far as the movie goes, and then as far as the master, but I'll give the rest of it a mild grape ape up.
Yeah, I do too. And I think you're right. I think we both feel the same way about this. And I think probably most of the audiences watching this felt the same way. Otherwise, this would be much more of a classic than it is.
Right,
and it fits right in with like Creature and Inseminoid and other movies of this era that look exactly the same. And like I said, usually have rapey, like, alien monsters in them and stuff. It fits right in with all those movies too. It could be but it's frustrating because it could be so good. God, it could be so good.
It could be. Yeah, it could have been.
But it's not. It is what it is. So, okay, Mr. Ben Harley, not sure what we're doing next week, but I don't know if I really want it to be quite as, here, put it this way. I don't want master transmission next week. I want the master to stay the master and not transmit it to anywhere.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think we're safe that we won't get master transmission next week.
Right.
However, Mr. Ben Harley, you, myself, and the Deep Thinkers are not safe from us being back here next week. How about that? So there you go.
That's right.
Until then, Mr. Ben Harley, all the Deep Thinkers, be good to each other, stay safe. We'll be back here next week, so stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Tim O and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.